Shalom. I'd like to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders, a great millstone who rule well. And shalom to sincere, hopeful, elect brothers and sisters listening and learning. And to you brothers preaching and teaching this truth to the four corners of the earth. This is Brother Nathan, come out of the GMS Indianapolis camp. Coming back with an article. It's from Fox News. It says GOP lawmakers call on Trump to arrest Walz after governor warns of National Guard move. It says Republican lawmakers are urging President Donald Trump to invoke the Insurrection Act against Minnesota Governor Tim Walz after the Democrat warned he could deploy the National Guard in response to federal immigration enforcement actions in the state. Right, and this is based off of that lady getting shot in the head by an ICE agent. All right, and now there's protests breaking out over this situation, and Governor Walz was threatening to use the National Guard to defend against the federal agents. Okay. It says, invoke the Insurrection Act, arrest Tim Walz, Representative Mary Miller, Republican, said in post to X on Wednesday evening. Miller's calls to apply the law, which give the president powers to arrest suspects obstructing federal law enforcement, follow Walz's suggestion that he might deploy the National Guard to push back on President Donald Trump's use of immigration and customs enforcement. It says, we do not need any further help from the federal government. To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough. I've issued a warning order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard, Walz said in press event. Walz's warning on Wednesday came on the heels of a deadly encounter between ICE and a woman. A law enforcement officer shot Renee Nicole Good, 37, when she confronted agents from inside her car in Minneapolis, according to the Department of Homeland Security. Quotes, it says, we have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary. I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks, Walz said. Minnesota will not allow our community to be used as a prop in a national political fight. This is under Minnesota law. Walz has the power to deploy the National Guard for the defense or relief of the state. The enforcement of the law or the protection of the persons in the state. Other Republicans reacting to Walz's warning also believe such an action could trigger the use of the act. Someone remind him Donald Trump is the commander-in-chief and federal authority supersedes state authority. That's not an opinion. That's the Constitution, Representative Nancy Mace. So you can see Esau's divided, man. All right, I'm going to leave that there. Esau's divided. All right. Hey, and you know what? Hey, how about Shemashah's about this division? All right, breaking these people up so the Lord can't. So these it ain't meant for these people to come together, man. Everything's failing. The Council of Esau Edom is failing, man. Well, this is let's get this real quick. This is Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 2. It says, and I'll set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city and kingdom against kingdom. And you're seeing that, all right, throughout the four corners of the earth, and chiefly here in America, Babylon the Great, the chief city of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. All right, America, Babylon the Great. Here it is. You know, they're disagreeing. You got the right versus the left. All right, you got Trump just doing whatever he wants to do, passing up Congress and the Senate, and using his plenary powers, right, to do whatever the hell he wants to do, right? So that's what makes this a devastating thing for Esau Edom's kingdom, man. All right, But this is the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai doing this. It says, verse 3, it says, and the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. Yeah, and that's what's happening. Mind you, and it says, and the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel lord. So that cruel lord is who? Donald Trump, man. All right. AKA Nero, right? In the reincarnation, right? And a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord of hosts. Yeah, and that's what's happening. So Donald Trump is just moving and grooving, getting people snatched up. All right, like, look, you just seen this lady get shot in the head, you know. So, now there's blood in the streets, man, because of these ICE detainments, and it's escalating. All right, but really, that's all this is the hand of the Lord moving. All right, because he's not pleased with this place. All right, he wants it to be destroyed. All right, and it's crumbling. All right, from the foundation. All right, because what? This place has been full of wickedness, man. Everything that this place has to offer is against Yahweh Shemel Shah. So guess what? The Lord is moving on this place. And we need this to happen. Those of the hopeful elect, of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, we want this to happen. This isn't our rest. Micah 2 and 10 says, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Meaning what? Depart from the ways of this place. Because this ain't where we're gonna have something in this world here. Now this place is through. All right, it's ran on sin. And we know the wages of sin is death, Romans 6 and 23. So, we don't want to be a part of this, because it said what Micah 2 says, arise ye and depart. Micah 2 and 10 says, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. It is polluted. It shall even destroy you with a sword of destruction. Right. This place is completely against the Lord, man. All right. It pushes adultery. It pushes rob, stealing, and killing. Getting over on your fellow man. All right, just to make $1. All right, pushes eating abominations. This is what America has to offer. Right? That's why the Lord is getting rid of this place, man, because wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and the hurtful works are fulfilled, man. So he's got the prophets, he's got the men of the Lord, starting with our apostles and the elders, a great millstone on down. All right, telling you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans to repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. All right, but we know the elect are only going to turn back and rehearse the righteous acts and call upon the true name, Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. All right. But see, all this is leading up, all this chaos, right? Because, Esau works off of order out of chaos. So he causes all the chaos so that problem, action, and solution. All right. He creates the problems, then he gives you the solution. Because ultimately, Esau needs all this society, the current society, to collapse. From the financials to the people, and everything, just so they can enter into their new world order system that's going to be ran off the MOT to the B, the mark, that charagma, that micro C hip. All right, because they want to be in control of everybody. That's what this is all leading to. All right, but see, the Lord's got these like Esau divided, man. Then it's all Esau crime at the end of the day. Like you say, you got Russia and Russia versus America, and the Ukraine versus Russia. Tag team with the help of America, which is all Edomites, so-called white people. And this place is falling. But this is exciting news. This is what we want. They're really pushing the Civil War. They're pushing the sedition. And that's sedition against, Governor Walz. Let me see, sedition. Meaning, let's get the definition real quick. It says sedition, conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarch. Right? Provocation, rebellion, revolt, insurrection, rioting. That's why they say we need to do the Insurrection Act. All right. To stop this governor, and there's other states that are on the same type of timing. Okay? Hey, what was it saying? Let's get that real quick. In 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, one of the favorites. This keeps coming out because guess what? This is what's happening. Oh man, y'all sound like a broken record. Is that all y'all talk about? Yeah, because that's what's going on. Hey, the spirit of Yahweh Shai is what? The word of prophecy, which means to say before. And that's what we're telling you. We're telling you what the things are going to happen. All right, and we're reading the prophetic scriptures. All right, because that's the times we're in. The 2nd Ezra 15 verse, let's start at verse 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. All right, destruction. Woe means destruction. This says, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. You know, sword, the modern day sword is what, the gun. And eventually there's going to be major blood on the streets. There's going to be gun versus gun soon. You see the escalation and the tension rising. All right, when it comes to these civil unrests with these ICE agents, man, and they're getting more bold and more bolder. All right, so this is really heating up. Like I said, this is exciting for us of the hopeful elect, man, because we know this is a necessary thing to happen. All right, because that's where all this tribulation is going to start to come out too. Because hey, through much tribulation shall we enter to the kingdom of heaven. All right, it's the rite of passage. It says, for there shall be sedition among men. Hey, you got the governor of Minnesota, you know, coming against the federal government, going against the commander-in-chief, Donald Nero Trump. You know, this is real life happening, man. We're not making this up. We're reporting to you what is happening right now. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Right. So they ain't regarding. Even your top officials aren't regarding their superiors, right? The president's over the governor, right? You know, like just like the governor's over the mayor, you know, and the list goes on. But all these different levels of government are all fighting against each other because the Lord, it says, let me jump right back. I'll jump right back. This is Proverbs 21:1. The king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh Bashim Shai. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. Right, so these people in these leadership positions, the Lord is in control of this. Like the common man was looking like, damn, why can't they just do this? Or why can't they do that? Well, the Lord don't want them to resolve this. That's why a lot of the shit they do don't even make any sense. But it makes sense to us because we know, to those of the hopeful elect, right? You know, because we've been revealed the secrets of the Lord and you know how He works. So we know that the Lord is He's pushing these people to not resolve because, like I said, Babylon won't be healed. All right, that golden, it was the golden cup in the hand of the Lord. All right, it's no longer that golden cup. You know, that pure gold. Now it's tarnished and mixed metals, and it's lost value, and it's not sought after as much anymore. Right? Because it's on its way out. This place is deteriorating, man. And it's the Lord's plan to do that, man. These people say, God bless the USA. The Lord is condemning this place. The Lord wants to destroy America. Thus said the scriptures. Okay? It says, back to 2nd Ezra 15, verse 17, it says, a man shall desire to go into the city and it shall not be able. Right, because eventually this is going to come down to lockdowns. All right? They're going to have martial law. Like I said, they can't wait. They're itching to use the Insurrection Act. All right, so they can really lock things down and have a military state, you know, and have people on curfews and, you know, yeah, the military up and down the streets, policing the cities. Okay? So, hey, you know, this is the working of the Lord, man. This is, like I said, this is exciting, man. If you don't want this to happen, you're in the wrong spirit. Hey, we're living to see the fall of His enemies. That's who the Lord loves. What was that in Sirach 25? Here, let's get that real quick. Because these are our enemies, man. These Edomites, man, they're at the top of the list when you go to Psalms 83, man. They've always been against us. This is is it 25? Forgive me. Yep. It's Ecclesiasticus or Sirach 25 and verse 7. There be 9 things which I have judged in my heart to be happy. So this is what makes the Lord happy. And the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that hath joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. See? So that makes the Lord happy. We're living to see the fall of our enemies, man. All these nations, all right, these so-called white people, these so-called Chinese people, these so-called Japanese people, so-called Arab people, right? So-called Indian people, so-called Hawaiian people, you name it. Everybody but the Israelites are against us, man. All right, so we're enjoying seeing them crumble, man, because they've taken advantage of these so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Those of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel, man. All right, and their time is up, man. They've reached the bounds that they cannot pass. All right. Let me get one more and we'll close it out on this. This is Mark chapter 3 and verse 24. It says, and if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. Right. So all this infighting in America, all these councils being destroyed, them not working anything out, there's no way this place can continue to go. All right. Hey, what does Amos 3 and 3 say? Can two walk together lest they be agreed? Hell no. It just won't work. And there's a complete divide from the highest power, the presidency, Trump, all the way down to the lowest form of government, okay? And then, like I said, that's the Lord bringing that division, you know? So, hey, here it is. Hey, it's only, what, the 8th today? Only a week through of, the quote-unquote new year. So, yeah, it's going down. And Yahweh Shemel Shai, man, getting ready to dissolve this place, man. So, with that, I pray that was edifying to the elect. And I like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Kwam Yasharallah. Shalom.